The snow had started falling just after noon, the kind that softened the world instead of freezing it. Mark Holloway watched it drift past the office windows as he sat across from his boss's desk, hands folded tightly in his lap. He already knew why he'd been called in. December had a way of delivering bad news wrapped in tinsel. "Mark," said Victor Langston, CEO of Langston Logistics, without looking up from his tablet. "I'll get straight to the point. We're downsizing." Mark swallowed. "I understand cuts happen, sir. But I was told last quarter my performance was excellent," Victor interrupted, finally glancing up. "Which makes this unfortunate. But numbers are numbers. You're being let go effective today." Today. Mark's mind raced forward instantly, not to anger, not even to fear, but to Lily and Ben. 8 and 5, stockings half hung at home. A tree he'd bought on credit because he'd promised them Christmas would be extra special this year. "Victor," Mark said quietly, "it's 4 days before Christmas. I'm a single dad. I've never missed a deadline. If there's any flexibility." Victor sighed, already bored. "Personal circumstances can't dictate business decisions. HR will handle your severance. Security will escort you out." That was it. No apology, no handshake, just dismissal. By the time Mark stepped outside with a cardboard box of desk belongings, the snow felt heavier. The city bustled around him, unaware that his entire world had just cracked. He pulled his coat tighter and began the long walk to the bus stop, rehearsing how he'd explain this to his kids without breaking down. That night, after the children were asleep, Mark sat at the kitchen table with overdue bills spread out like accusations. His phone buzzed with a notification, another automated rejection from a job application he'd sent weeks earlier. He rubbed his eyes and laughed bitterly. "Merry Christmas," he muttered. Across town, Victor Langston poured himself a glass of scotch in his penthouse office, staring out at the skyline. The holidays meant little to him beyond year-end profits and acquisition talks. His phone rang. "Langston," he answered. "Victor," came a calm, unfamiliar voice. "This is Daniel Holloway." Victor frowned. "I don't recognize the name." "You will," Daniel replied. "I represent Holloway Group Capital. We've finalized our acquisition of Langston Logistics." The glass froze halfway to Victor's lips. "That's impossible. We're not for sale." Daniel chuckled softly. "You were." Quietly. "Majority shares transferred this afternoon." Victor's pulse quickened. "Who authorized?" "I did," Daniel said. "As of this moment, I'm the acting chairman. We'll be conducting a full leadership review starting tomorrow." The line went dead. Victor stared at the phone, his reflection distorted in the glass. Holloway. The name tugged at something, but before he could place it, panic set in. The next morning, the company lobby buzzed with nervous energy. Executives whispered. Assistants avoided eye contact. Victor sat stiffly in the boardroom as Daniel Holloway entered. Daniel was younger than Victor expected, dressed simply, his expression unreadable. He shook hands around the table, then took the seat at the head. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," Daniel began. "Before we discuss strategy, I want to address recent personnel decisions." Victor shifted. Daniel's eyes locked onto him. Specifically, the termination of Mark Holloway. The room went quiet. Victor cleared his throat. That employee was part of a necessary reduction. "No relation to my brother," Daniel said calmly. Victor's face drained of color. Daniel continued, his voice steady but firm. "Mark is a single father who worked nights to keep this company running during supply chain shortages. He was fired 4 days before Christmas. It was strictly business," Victor stammered. "I didn't know." Daniel raised a hand. "You didn't care." The words landed heavier than any shout. "I built my company on a simple principle," Daniel said. "People are not disposable. Profits mean nothing if you forget the human cost." He slid a folder across the table. "Victor Langston, effective immediately, your employment with Langston Logistics is terminated." Security appeared at the door. Victor stood slowly, humiliation burning hotter than anger. "You're making a mistake," he snapped. "This company will regret." Daniel met his gaze. The only mistake was thinking cruelty was leadership. Victor was escorted out in silence. That afternoon, Mark Holloway sat on his couch, helping Ben color paper snowmen, when there was a knock at the door. "Daddy, someone's here," Lily called. Mark opened it to find Daniel standing on the porch, snow dusting his coat. "Danny," Mark blinked. "What are you doing here?" Daniel smiled. "I came to give you your job back." Mark stared. "What? Better than that," Daniel said, stepping inside. "I bought the company." Mark laughed, certain this was a joke. Then he saw the seriousness in his brother's eyes. What? I heard what happened, Daniel said gently. And I couldn't let it stand. Mark sank onto the couch, overwhelmed. I didn't tell you because I didn't want charity. This isn't charity, Daniel replied. It's justice. And family. He handed Mark an envelope. Your position is reinstated, with a raise. And you'll be heading a new employee support initiative. Paid parental leave, holiday protections, no more last-minute firings. Tears welled in Mark's eyes. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Daniel smiled. And come to dinner tomorrow. My treat. Christmas morning arrived brighter than Mark remembered in years. Lily squealed at the sight of a new bike by the tree. Ben hugged his dinosaur pajamas like treasure. As they opened gifts, Mark felt something he hadn't in a long time, security. Across the city, Victor Langston sat alone in his apartment, scrolling through job boards that suddenly felt colder than the snow outside. He'd spent years believing power meant never having to care. He was wrong, and as church bells rang and families gathered, the world quietly reminded him, and everyone else, that what you give out always finds its way back.